I don't think I'm ready for this. I'm your host Youssef, and these are 10 scary ancient artifacts that prove aliens exist. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's look at the proof. Number 10. Tech from the sky. A professor at Harvard University thinks a meteorite that fell into the Pacific Ocean in 2014 may have been made of a substance one might anticipate finding in a sci-fi film. Avi Loeb, the longest-serving chair of Harvard University's Department of Astronomy, is certain that this object could be either an advanced piece of extraterrestrial technology or a very strong meteorite. Without actually examining the object, none of this can be verified. Thus, the professor has organized a retrieval mission that will cost over $1 million in financing from private contributors. It would be the first time that humans had contact with the components of an object that originated from another star. Although the data now indicates that the object is of interstellar origin, this wasn't always the case. Loeb and his student looked at a variety of meteors to see if any stuck out using data from government sensors that were primarily utilized for national security as part of our missile defense system. Number 9. Anti-gravity technology. This information comes from a research paper titled Anti-Gravity Technology by Non-Positive Equivalent Mass Revealing UFO Flying Secrets. In order to uncover the mysteries of a UFO flying, a revolutionary type of anti-gravity technology using non-positive equivalent mass of aircraft is described in this research. It is discovered that starting with a 2 degree of freedom system, the system might produce an endless acceleration under the condition of zero dynamic equivalent mass and under the circumstance of negative equivalent mass, a movement in the opposite direction of the external force. This innovative type of anti-gravity technology could be applied to the 2 non-positive equivalent mass scenarios, which is also supported by a planned dynamic simulation experiment. Once the external input, which includes gravity and engine exciting forces, is known, the non-positive equivalent mass for any aircraft that can be considered a multi-degree of freedom system driven by engine or other external forces can be calculated. Number 8. Ramayana. In Hindu mythology, the gods and their avatars travel from place to place in flying vehicles called Vimana. There are many mentions of these flying objects in the Ramayana, which used by the Lankan king Ravana from Sri Lanka dates to the 5th or 4th century BCE. Below are some examples. From Book 6, Canto CXXIII, the magic car is not the wondrous chariot mine, named Pushpak, rout by hands divine. This chariot kept with utmost care will waft thee through the fields of air, and thou shalt light unwearied down in fair Ayodhya's royal town. From Book 6, Canto CXXIV, the departure swift through the air as Rama chose the wondrous car from earth arose, and decked with swans and silver wings, bore through the clouds its freight of kings. Number 7. Aliens in the Old Testament. The Old Testament chapter 1 of the book of Ezekiel recounts a vision in which Ezekiel sees an immense cloud that contains fire and emits lightning and brilliant light. It continues, the center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. These creatures, called cherubim, are described as winged and humanoid. They sped back and forth like flashes of lightning, and fire moved back and forth among the creatures. The passage goes on to describe 4 shiny objects called ophanim, each appearing like a wheel intersecting a wheel. These objects could fly and they moved with the creatures. When the living creatures moved, the wheels beside them moved, and when the living creatures rose from the ground, the wheels also rose. Number 6. Irish Book of Invasions. Childress and others have written that the passage in the Book of Invasions describing the arrival of the Tuatha De Danann in Ireland records the arrival of aliens in spacecraft with cloaking devices. The text states, so that they were the Tuatha De Danann who came to Ireland. In this wise they came, in dark clouds. They landed on the mountains of Con Maich Rhine in Connacht, and they brought a darkness over the sun for 3 days and 3 nights. Number 5. Cave paintings. Ancient astronaut proponents believe Hopi cave drawings of Kachinas, or spirit beings, found in the desert link with the origins of Hopi and Zuni tribes with star people. They point to similar etchings elsewhere as evidence that extraterrestrials visited many different ancient civilizations. Other artistic support for the ancient astronaut hypothesis has been sought in Paleolithic cave paintings. Wandjina in Australia and in the rock drawings in Valcamonica in Italy are said to bear a resemblance to present-day astronauts. Supporters of the ancient astronaut hypothesis sometimes argue that similarities such as dome-shaped heads interpreted as beings wearing astronaut helmets. Number 4. Nazca lines. The ancient Nazca lines are hundreds of huge ground drawings etched into the high desert of southern Peru. Some are stylized animals and humanoid figures, while others are merely straight lines hundreds of meters long. As the figures were made to be seen from a great height, they have been linked with the ancient astronaut hypothesis. In the 1970s, the pseudo-historical writer Erich von Däniken popularized a notion that the Nazca lines and figures could have been made according to instructions from aircraft, and that the longer and wider lines might be runways for spacecraft. Number 3. MOAI. The MOAI statues of Easter Island were moved miles from the Rano Raraku quarry to their current locations, and archaeologists have wondered how massive statues such as these could have been transported. The folklore of the native Rapa Nui people says that chiefs and priests used mana to make these statues walk across the island. Could it have really been the work of aliens though? Number 2. Ancient skulls. A number of ancient cultures, such as the ancient Egyptians and some Native Americans, artificially lengthened the skulls of their early members. Some ancient astronaut proponents propose that this was done to emulate extraterrestrial visitors whom they saw as gods. Among the ancient rulers depicted with elongated skulls are Pharaoh Akhenaten and Nefertiti. The depiction of Akhenaten and his family with traits like elongated skulls, limbs, underdeveloped torsos, and gynecomastia in Amarna art is hypothesized to be the effect of a familial disease. Marriage between family members, especially siblings, was common in ancient Egyptian royal families, elevating the risk of such disorders. Number 1. Ancient flying machines. Proponents of the ancient astronauts idea say that some artifacts discovered in Egypt, the Saqqara bird, and Colombia, Ecuador, the Quimbaya artifacts, are similar to modern planes and gliders. These artifacts have been interpreted by mainstream archaeologists, however, as stylized representations of birds and insects. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary artifacts that prove aliens exist. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything, and we hope you have a scary day.